Well, we have the new backbone cut, as far as I can tell. About as good as it's going to get. See it in there? It's not welded in at all. A little bit of a gap here and there. And on this side, there's a little bigger one there and a little bigger one there. But the ends are tight. So I think that's about where it's going to sit. I'll take the stick welder and I'll start burning that puppy in. Well, that's where we're at for now. It's getting dark. But about done for the night, but I thought I'd give you an update for an evening. Because it's late enough that I need to stop before I make too much of a hassle. I welded all around. This is the last edge I need to weld. I've made it that far. I'm welding high enough on the welder that I can tell when it starts getting kind of warm. And so I'll stop after a couple sticks, and I took the grinder and I was cleaning up the ends of those arms that I cut off. And they still look rough, but I think they're a lot closer to workable. I mean, it's a torch cut. What are you going to do? There's only so much you can do with that. I do need to clean up the what's it called, the bracket that the cylinder mounts to, so I can weld stuff to that later. The pin is frozen in the cylinder and I don't think I'm going to get it out. I think I'm just going to leave it and let it work like that. But I'm done for tonight, so I'm going to let the welder cool for a minute before I turn it off. And then I'm going to toss everything inside. I'm going through a lot more rods than I thought I'd have to, so I think I'll stop and get some on the way home tomorrow. That's about it for tonight. See you tomorrow. We got a little update. I finished welding the backing plate on. It took a lot more time and a lot more rod. And I am clearly by no means a professional welder, but I'm getting better, learning what's going on. So I got that on there. Might do a little bit of cleanup on it, but I've cleaned up some of these other pieces here. I'm gonna do some more grinding on the thing that holds the piston, bracket that holds the piston. Much more cleanup on it, and almost ready to start tacking it together. But moving right along. Alright, progress update on the blade. We're almost ready to start tacking it together. Have it mocked up here. We're going to pull the mini out and line it up. Start doing that. We're going to have to cut off these ears so I can weld underneath them and then weld those back on. And then I'll replace the braces in between there and there. I'll cut some steel to do that with. Hi, Owen.
Hi.
But we're making progress. A little more cleanup to do. But oh, and I cut the sides off there because they were torn out. So I just cut them off, and I've got some plate that I'm gonna cut a piece out to go there after I welded in there. So I'm gonna pull the mini up, tack it all together, line it up, and then we will ready to burn it all together. But that way I'll pull the mini out and line it up with that so that we can make sure these pins are lined up on it. We're gonna do that next. Got it mocked, pinned on that side. The arms are parallel. They're equidistant from the ends. So it's time to go in for dinner, but I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna tack it on in a few places. A good hard tack. Probably over there too. And then I will take it apart and start welding it. I cut the ears off. I just cut them off with a torch because I'm going to weld them back on. And they're not critical, they're just what I'm doing. Well, I'll give you an update while letting the welder cool down. It's over there humming away. It's working hard today. I have it turned up pretty high for most of this. But I'm getting really close to being done. I'm welding in these brackets between right now. I'll weld up all the sides. I'll flip it over and I'll weld the bottom side, then I'll flip it over and weld the top here. I've ground those down. They're ready to weld back in. I'm not entirely sure how, I'm not entirely sure how structural they are. I did learn that even though I started with it, there we go. Even though I started with it plenty far enough apart, over the course of welding, the legs have inched together. So before I welded in those brackets between the cylinder and the arms, I cranked it pretty hard, pretty far apart, so that it can settle back to where it needs to be, hopefully. Or at least closer. If it has to, we'll crank it apart to install it and it'll just never come out again. Or something like that, I don't know. That's where we're at. I'm hoping to at least get these brackets welded in tonight. I am going to finish cutting a faceplate that covers this, and I'm going to take it all the way to there, so I need to measure how long that is. I don't remember if it did originally. I may have cut a bunch of stuff off, I'm not entirely sure. Just kind of how it went. But anyway, we're making good progress, I think. I'm hoping it'll stay together and move on with our lives. Anyway, there's an update. I'll probably update you one more time when I'm done, but there we're at. Well, progress report, because I think it's a good stopping place for tonight. I'll pick everything up here, but see where we're at. I've got just about everything welded up. The reason I'm stopping is because I need to finish cutting this plate here, and it's late enough I don't want to disturb the neighbors. But I gotta cut that plate and weld it in. I gotta weld in these two things there, and I'd like to put a piece of bar there or something, and on there. I'll have to clean it up and all that jazz. Just to kind of give it a little more support. But other than that, it's come along pretty well. Those arms did spring back pretty much almost where they were before I started welding down here. When I let the jack out of there, so I'll have to use the jack to install it, as it were. But other than that, I was really ambitious. There's a whole lot of chips or slag to chip off. I don't feel like doing that. I just need to finish cutting that plate, weld it on, weld on those two arms, and it'll be done. Probably good enough. Although like I said, I'd like to put two just something in that gap there, something stout, and weld it in. But that's where we're at for tonight. I'm gonna pick everything up, put it all away, let the welder cool down, and I'll try this again in the morning. Excuse me. Tomorrow morning, Saturday. But we're not gonna get started till a little bit later. So hopefully I'll have a chance to get this finished, because we'd like to use this tomorrow. I know. Pushing it right up against the deadline. I didn't know if I'd get it done or not. And we can use it without the blade, but it's just handy to have it. So it should be there tomorrow. Be on there. We'll finish it up in the morning. Anyway, see y'all next time. Well, it's morning. Started working again. Travis says people watching like to actually see work done. I would do a lot of updates and not a whole lot of work on video. I've gotten that top plate welded in, and I've welded in that side over there, and I've got to weld this one in here. It's the last major weld I want to do. So I'm going to set you up here, just a video, I guess, and he might turn into a time lapse, I don't know, but I'll set it up so you can watch. That's the last of all the welding I need to do. I thought I'd like to I may cut some little plates and put them there. We'll see. Something Travis pointed out to me the other day when he was here. As you see those lines in the shavings. It's where the cord for the welder was laying at some point. And that's just the magnetic field it created as the current was going through it. It's kind of cool. But that's all I got for this morning. For now. I'll let that cool a minute. I'll think about building little plates to put there. And see where we go from there.